Salam, adım Elizavetadır. Ben buraya Rusiyadan köçürdüm. Təxminən 1 il və 4 ay əvvəl. Mən Azərbaycan dili öyrənirdim. Müəllimlə, müəllimsiz və zənnimcə bu hər adam üçün çox vacib assimilyasiya üçün. So I moved here because I didn't want to live in a country that is acting as a terrorist, and I didn't want to pay my taxes there. I wanted to go somewhere to a country with a Turkey background because I myself come from a Turkey background. My half is Chuvash and the other quarter is Russian and the other quarter is Tatar. All of these parts were at some point colonized by Russian Empire and then subsequently USSR, and the Russian Federation takes its place. I know that a lot of Russians moved to Georgia or to Armenia in February, March 2022, but I didn't want to go there, mainly because I didn't want to go somewhere where I could meet a lot of my compatriots and become a part of diasporic bubble. And also I didn't want to be a part of a community that would attract too much attention or negativity from locals. Due to events of 2008, Georgia didn't seem like a good option, specifically in times when Russia is leading another war in another country. When I was choosing between Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan, I chose Azerbaijan eventually. At first, when I moved here, I mainly participate in local intellectual games, so-called Ne Harda Ne Zaman or What Where When. Even though these games here are conducted in 2 languages, it is still a product of Russian culture. All people who write questions for trivia for these quizzes are writing them in Russian, even though they may come from Belarus, from Ukraine, not necessarily Russian citizens. It's clear that a lot of facts and trivia that these questions can contain can require you to know the real facts or historical facts or parts of fiction that are from Russian culture, even if it's some modern thing like meme or some modern series or game. It's something that more understandable for people who live in predominantly Russian space. Even before moving here, I thought that this is not a good thing, but here it became apparent that it's just discriminating people from getting better results on so-called worldwide rating, because people who are Russian, they can achieve better results simply by being predominantly in this space. People just think that if you are from Azerbaijani sector, you can be not necessarily less intellectual, but maybe less sophisticated. Maybe you understand less about world outside of Azerbaijan. And of course, I don't have any saying in this, but to me, it just seems a little bit peculiar. Another example is, I guess, more trivial. It would be about how I'm treated in places of public, like cafe or transport, taxi. I know that I look like a person who is clearly a foreigner, but it became apparent that people address me in Russian because they think that it is going to be more pleasant to me that way, and probably I'm going to tip them, probably I'm going to have overall better experience, and I can't blame them for hospitality, but I just think that it's something that is not necessarily beneficial for society all in all. I immediately think about the example of Ukraine, where even though people still use Russian language and it's not in any way like prohibited on state level, if you go to a shop, they have to address you in Ukrainian. You can respond in Russian, but they have to address you in Ukrainian, and you can complain if they address you in some other language. I think this is a good initiative. For me, decolonization is about giving those people's voice, regardless of how small it is. Because, for instance, in modern nationalist Russian discourse, there is a very popular notion, specifically among the youngsters, that why do you need to learn your Mari language, your Chuvash language, your Tatar language? If it takes you to learn it, you artificially keeping it alive. And this is something that sounds very wrong to me. I think that the fact that people are actively interested in it means that it's not artificially kept alive. I think it's a very important subject today, specifically as I come from Russia, which is a land that has hundreds of smaller or larger ethnicities, sub-ethnicities, and languages, and it is still named a same entity, geographically, politically, even though we have this subdivision to republics and krais, etc., people still see this as a whole from the outside. And it is a big erasure of cultures, of diversity, and it's silencing of people who deserve to have voice. Decolonization is also taking these groups of people, these languages, these cultures and lifestyles out of what is labeled to be peasant, not sophisticated, not elegant, not on the same level as dominant culture.